It's time now for some real education. This is Mobocracy Week on the Dr. Duke Show. A shout out to Jake Jacobs, one of the great educators in this country, whose book is entitled Mobocracy. What happens when we succumb to mobs? The Western culture is full of great writers, great thinkers, great minds who are condemning the mob. The mob, for a long time, we have recognized as the source of anarchy. But you look around the world today, and what do you get? You get a world completely steeped, in this country anyway, of small mobs demanding and engaging in acts of not just civil disobedience, but vandalism and arson and violence. These mobs will be the death of the country if we don't stand up to them. We always have in our past. It's not the mob that is the hero. It's he who stands against the mob that is the hero. Take a look at some quotes to support those facts. The great ancient Greek, the greatest of the great Greek historians, Herodotus, wrote, quote, "There is nothing more foolish, nothing more given to outrage than a useless mob." I mean, you don't need more than that, do you, to look at what Antifa's doing? Foolish and outraged and useless. George Eliot, the great novelist, wrote, what are a handful of reasonable men against a crowd with stones in their hands? And finally, Dickens, I think, has one of the most, as he often does, has one of the most piercing and insightful understandings of mob violence. Dickens wrote, quote, "A mob is usually a creature of very mysterious existence, particularly in a large city. Where it comes from or whither it goes, few men can tell. Assembling and dispersing with equal suddenness, it is as difficult to follow to its various sources as the sea itself, nor does the parallel stop here. For the ocean is not more fickle and uncertain, more terrible when roused, more unreasonable or more cruel." It's a great idea, right? A great metaphor and analogy. A mob is like a raging sea. Calm one moment, no one knows, and then with almost the snap of a finger, that calm sea is raging. It's battering the rocks. And then just as suddenly, it's quiet again, and you never know where or when it's going to strike next. It is irrational. It is unthoughtful. It's not a reasonable creature. It's monstrous in its associations, and ultimately it destroys civilization without thought, without forethought or hindsight. It is one of the great scourges of all civilizational aspirations. And in this country, we're pretending right now that mobs are legitimate protests, and legitimate protests are mobs. It's a very, very dangerous thing to have a confused and wicked government in bed with mobsters.